The spy who double-crossed every nation in the shadowy world of espionage. Few figures have ever matched the cunning, deception, and sheer audacity of Robert Hanssen. His name is synonymous with betrayal, secrecy, and the dark art of double-crossing. Over the course of more than 2 decades, Hanssen infiltrated the highest levels of American intelligence while secretly feeding classified information to the Soviet Union and later, Russia. His actions not only compromised the security of the United States, but also left a trail of shattered lives and international tension in their wake. The sheer scale of his deception and the consequences of his treachery make his story one of the most infamous in modern intelligence history. Robert Hanssen was born in 1944 in Chicago, Illinois, into a family with strong ties to law enforcement. His father, a strict and often abusive figure, was a police officer, an influence that would later shape Hanssen's career in the FBI. But beneath the surface of his outwardly normal life, Hanssen harbored a deep fascination with secrecy, power, and manipulation. He was a man who yearned for control, not just over information, but over those around him. His path into espionage wasn't driven solely by ideology or coercion. It was a calculated choice fueled by greed, ego, and a dangerous sense of invincibility. Hanssen joined the FBI in 1976, and it didn't take long for him to gain access to highly sensitive intelligence. His role as a counterintelligence officer granted him insight into the very operations designed to thwart spies, and irony that would define his career. In 1979, just 3 years into his service, he made his first move as a double agent. He reached out to the Soviet Military Intelligence Agency, the GRU, offering classified information in exchange for money. It was a bold step, but one that would soon make him one of the most valuable assets to America's adversaries. The information Hanssen provided was devastating. He leaked details about US nuclear strategies, surveillance methods, and even exposed the identities of undercover American agents operating in Russia. These revelations led to the deaths and imprisonments of several key operatives, permanently crippling US intelligence efforts. However, Hanssen was careful. His betrayals were calculated, methodical, and shrouded in layers of misdirection. He refused to meet his handlers in person, instead using encrypted messages, dead drops, and coded signals to maintain secrecy. His paranoia was his shield, ensuring that even as he provided the Soviets with some of the most damaging intelligence leaks in US history, he remained undetected. Despite the gravity of his actions, Hanssen's motivations remained personal rather than ideological. Unlike some spies who defect for political reasons, he had no deep loyalty to communism or the Soviet cause. His primary driving force was financial gain. The money he received, totaling over $1.4 million in cash, diamonds, and bank deposits, allowed him to live a life of comfort while continuing his deception. His ability to manipulate those around him, to present himself as a staunch patriot while selling out his country, was a testament to his skill as a double agent. Incredibly, Hanssen's espionage activities were briefly interrupted in 1981 when he feared exposure. He cut off contact with his Soviet handlers and returned to his duties as a seemingly loyal FBI agent. But the law of espionage was too great. By 1985, he had resumed his treachery, this time working for the KGB, the Soviet Union's premier intelligence agency. He was even more cautious now, avoiding electronic communication and relying entirely on clandestine drops to pass information. The very people tasked with stopping spies were now being outplayed by one of their own. As the years went by, Hanssen became one of the most damaging spies in American history. He had access to classified information that detailed everything from American nuclear capabilities to the methods used to track foreign agents. He revealed the existence of secret tunnels beneath the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C. designed for US eavesdropping, effectively neutralizing one of the most valuable intelligence operations the US had against Russia. With every piece of information he sold, he not only strengthened America's enemies, but also deepened his own sense of invulnerability. The end of the Cold War in 1991 didn't stop Hanssen. When the Soviet Union collapsed, he continued working for Russia's newly formed intelligence agency, the SVR. By this point, he had embedded himself so deeply within the FBI that he was leading investigations into Russian espionage, allowing him to manipulate and misdirect efforts that might have exposed his own activities. His double life was an intricate game of deception, and he played it masterfully. But even the most careful spies make mistakes. By the late 1990s, suspicions were mounting. The FBI and CIA were hunting for a mole, someone within their ranks who had been betraying American intelligence for years. Analysts began piecing together inconsistencies, and soon, all signs pointed to someone within the FBI. A task force was assembled, and after an exhaustive investigation, all evidence led to Robert Hanssen. In early 2001, Hanssen made what would be his final dead drop. As he placed classified materials at a prearranged location for his Russian handlers, FBI agents moved in. The man who had spent over 2 decades deceiving his country, who had prided himself on his ability to stay one step ahead of the law, was finally caught. His arrest sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. How had he managed to operate undetected for so long? How could one man single-handedly compromise so many critical operations? Hanssen pleaded guilty to multiple charges of espionage, sparing him from the death penalty, but condemning him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Today, he remains incarcerated in the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, his days of deception long behind him. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the damage a single individual can inflict when armed with knowledge, access, and an unrelenting willingness to betray. What can we learn from Robert Hanssen's story? First, it highlights the vulnerabilities within even the most secure institutions. Hanssen's ability to operate for over 20 years without detection reveals the dangers of unchecked access and blind trust. His case forced intelligence agencies to reevaluate their security protocols, leading to stricter monitoring and counterintelligence measures. Second, it underscores the complexities of human motivation. Hanssen wasn't a man driven by political ideology. He was a man consumed by greed, power, and the thrill of deception. Finally, his story serves as a cautionary tale about the nature of loyalty and betrayal. The world of espionage is built on trust and secrecy. But as Hanssen proved, even the most trusted figures can become the greatest threats. His ability to manipulate, deceive, and outmaneuver some of the world's best intelligence agencies is a testament to his cunning, but also to the fact that, in the end, no spy is invincible. Robert Hanssen's legacy is one of unparalleled treachery. He was not just a spy. He was a master of deception, a man who played both sides until there was no more room to run. His story is a stark warning of the dangers of misplaced trust, the fragility of national security, and the lengths to which one person will go in pursuit of power and greed.